Let's go.
Our internet is shockingly bad again. I mean, and all day, not because it's getting close to evening. No, I mean, all day our internet has been unbelievably bad. Unable to open up YouTube. My Facebook doesn't, like, couldn't even get into my emails for several hours this morning. That bad. So I'm really hoping it'll hang in there, but I know. How's your internet, Ann? Is yours been bad? Because I mean, yours and mine tend to almost have temper tantrums at the same time.
So far, so good. Don't mention it.
Speak not the evil you fear.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes. And look.
Yeah,
look. I want to show you. Look at. I got my Unfuckers Unite coffee mug.
Nice.
Looky. There we go. Unfuck the world, folks.
Whoa.
Hello from
Look,
Victoria.
Monty.
Yes.
$200 fine if not wearing a mask.
Yep. Yeah, there's four things. If you're exercising, strangely enough, you don't want to wear a mask when you're exercising or going out. But if you're outside and they say face coverings. Everyone's saying masks, but the mandate or whatever it is face covering. So if you've got a scarf or a bandana, you can wear that. And it's only the metropolitan area of Melbourne. It's not the whole state. And where I live, last time I checked, there was only one case of COVID. And so, yeah, it's I'll be wearing something on my face because I don't have $200. I don't leave the house though. I'm a hermit, so I'll be just like, you don't feel, yeah.
That's the thing. Okay, so this is Nick and I. We were at the pound shop, the dollar store, 4 days ago or something. And at the cash out, they got the packets of the like a 3-pack of the little disposable fucking masks. And Nick said, "We better get some and chuck them in the car, because as of Friday here in England, it's a £100 fine if you go into a shop without a mask."
Yes. So £100, that's roughly about $200 Australian. And in Melbourne, it's if you're outside of your house. So you'll say UK slightly different, where it's just in stores,
just in shops. Oh yeah, you can go to the gym, don't need to wear a mask.
Pubs,
go to the doctor's office. You can go to the pub. You can go to a cafe. Don't need to wear a mask. But as I said last week, apparently COVID-19 likes to hang out in grocery stores. So if you go to the shops, you have to wear a mask.
And it doesn't like to protest either, so that's handy.
And it doesn't like to protest either. Apparently, it's got its rules that it doesn't. Yeah, only Black Lives Matter protests. But if you were to protest wearing a mask, then it would definitely show up.
And the irony is, Black Lives Matter, they wear masks as well. Yeah.
So if you want to go shopping and COVID's on your list, well, there you can get it.
You know you'll get it, no problem. Yeah. So yeah, we bought a little packet of cheap fucking throwaway paper masks to put in the store, put in the car, because I gotta get groceries. And like Monty just said, I don't have £100 to fight with and say, oh, I'm not gonna. I'd love to fight it. I would absolutely stand my ground and fight it. But the problem is, they're sitting there hauling people away and do all the
It's not it's not worth it. It's just living the system.
I'm just, like I said, we got to go and do some secondhand shopping. I'm going to go tomorrow. because it's the day before the mask. So if I have to drag my kids out to the shop, I'm going to do it tomorrow before this stupid law. And I'm hoping because there's already enough resistance to it, that I'm hoping that within a week or two of them instituting this, it's going to get thrown out, because it's asinine. Like, there's no logical sense anymore.
I don't think there's a medical thing as well, because like, I mean, on my show, I joked that I went shopping yesterday and everyone looks like they're in MASH with all their surgical masks. But the masks don't really do anything. And the interesting thing is, here around about the 1st of April, I'll say the 2nd of April, so it's not an April Fool's joke, the government said that the masks don't really do anything. They're there for people who have symptoms or are sick. But now it's that mandatory everybody, because they're testing more, and so there's more cases and blah, blah, blah. They use the term the new normal. And for people like us, it's really, you just step back and go, okay, you're running this narrative. You suck, but I'll just play along and giggle. That's sort of where I'm coming from, because you don't need the shaming and the fines and the
I don't give
constant shit.
I don't give a crap about the shaming. If anyone like as in someone there said something to me, I'd be like,
yeah.
But the fines, right? Like we're just barely making ends meet as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, month to month, I don't have 100 quid, or if it's Nick and I together, 200 quid to spend on a fine. It's insane. It's insane. And this is the
Also,
thing.
The insane thing is that we have to wear this shit under the sky. In the building, it makes sense. Outside, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they're also cutting back the benefits of COVID, and so, but they're not opening up the economy. So they're turning everyone poor, and crime's just going to go rampant, and it's to stop the medical crap. So it's
interesting. Well, a bunch of years ago, Danny had a conversation with a really interesting dude who made a fuck ton of money taking the Canadian corporations to court over small claims liens. So if there was no handrail on a stair, or if there was a tripping hazard, they would file a lien for less than $500 against the corporation, and the corporation's rules were to just fucking pay it. They didn't bother fighting it if it was under $500. Now, unfortunately, right now, I don't know if that still works. I don't know if it works here in the UK, but seeing as they're enforcing all of us to wear these goddamn masks, when they come off our face, they're ostensibly a biohazard. Now, I posted this in the Unfuckers room, and it is my opinion that if they're enforcing us to wear masks, then disposing of said masks is a biohazard. And if they're going to start fining us for not wearing masks, then we should start corporate liens against them for not providing waste facilities for fucking biohazards.
Yep. Absolutely. Like, this is just it. You see people in their gloves. I had this shock of it in England when they first started all the lockdowns and everything. I walked into one of the local grocery stores, and the parking lot was covered. I took photos. I was like, what the? There were masks and latex gloves everywhere, because people were going to their car, taking off their masks and gloves and just dumping them on the floor. They don't want to take them home because now it's a biohazard, right? But Nick has got a really relevant point. If everyone was to file a lien, like literally file a lien against all these corporations, every time you go into a place and they tell you have to wear a mask, pull out your paper disposable mask, make sure it's a paper disposable one, put it on, and come out and say, where is your biohazard disposal? And if they say no, we don't have one, put a lien against that company. Lien against that company for not providing biohazard disposal. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work, but if you got a shit ton of people of all of a sudden charging every single grocery store in England 499 quid. Now, again, you'd have to find out what the statute of limitations is in England. I'm basing this off of Canadian information, which was the statute of limitations. Anything under $500, the corporations just paid it. They didn't argue. They didn't even look at it. They just paid it.
I give it 4 hours and a bin will be at the front door.
Exactly. So what I said about the whole thing about the cash, right? When we went to B&Q, which is, like I said, the British equivalent of Home Depot, and they were like, no, no cash, only cards. Well, all you'd have to do is follow that law. The one that's basically, if you try to pay for something and they decline to accept your payment, especially when you're using legal tender, guess what? You can walk out of the store with everything you were purchasing because they declined to accept your payment. Now, again, I haven't had a chance to, I'm getting arguments back and forth on this, and people are trying to say things like, oh, but there's a sign outside. Signs outside, the corporation doesn't get to change the law, right? Corporations don't get to change the laws of what is or isn't legal tender. So this is when I say it comes down to each person in each country has to go to find out the laws in their country on what is legal tender. A corporation does not have the right to change that law. And by corporation, I also mean the Federal Reserve, if you're in the States. Federal Reserve is a corporation. They don't have a right to change the law. They don't have the ability. They don't have the legal standing to change a law. So,
Danny, so what they're doing here is they'll let you pay cash, but they won't give you your change back.
That's how they're doing it. So this is just perfect. That's another aspect. I just dumped my tobacco on the floor. Fucking hell. Hold on.
While she cleans that, I'm going to just take that moment to say, you know what? It is funny, all of these articles coming up talking about how there's a change shortage and how people are hoarding fucking change and it's causing a shortage. I'm like, you know what, pricks? All of you bastards out there that are hoarding billions and trillions of fucking dollars in vaults and safes have left us with nothing but the goddamn coins on the street. And you're fucking wondering why they're going missing because we're hoarding the last fucking vestiges of any capitalist like structure left.
Yep. Yeah.
And 80% of the economy is closed. So where are you going to spend it?
Like I said, I posted a little thing on Facebook saying everyone's wondering where all the change is, and it showed like a wishing well, and it's like fucking full. I was like, because everyone's wishing the 2020 would just be over, and that's where all the silver change is gone.
Danny, tell Nick I had just an idea. The idea was the biohazard is good, but you can even play it more. You could call your waste disposal service of your city and tell them, oh my God, look, there's a biohazard in the middle of a road. Come by and clean it up. And if everyone would do that too.
If everyone did that, that's brilliant, Bossy. Yeah. That is, okay, just to make sure everyone understood what that was. That's
Nick was
fucking
brilliant. I just added.
No. The government with that shit, absolutely.
In your England, call your local council. If you see a mask or a glove on the ground, call your local council and say, "There's a biohazard here. I need this cleaned up immediately." If it's out front of the Aldi, if it's out front of the Asda, the Tesco, the shops, the police station, you name it, frickin' call them. Call the manager. The biohazard. I want to see hazmat suits. Bring a hazmat suit in. I want to see hazmat suits. Yeah, come clean up the biohazard.
I reckon we should just buy hazmat suits. It's like, where's your mask? I have a suit. Get away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
This is fun to contemplate. It's but you got to step back just for a second. This is only for someone here that'll catch what I'm trying to say. Really, this is going to war with those people. In a very clever and devious and fun kind of a way, but it's still going to war with them. And if you really want to get rid of it in your life, you've got to step back. You got to deal with it. It rains outside, you put a raincoat on, or you get wet. It's up to you, whichever way you want to go.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. But yeah, there's clever ways to respond, react, and combat with them.
Absolutely. And going back to what I was saying about B&Q and the cashless, right? So I said, if every single person started doing that, going to any store and wouldn't accept their cash, physical money, and saying, guess what? That's mine now because you refused my payment. It's mine. And walked out, that store would change their fucking policy so goddamn fast, it wouldn't even be funny. So I went to B&Q, and they're now accepting cash. And I was like, oh, I wonder if a few people have played this little game with them. Go load up on 400 quid's worth of lumber, offer them 400 cash, and if they turn them down, say, sorry.
The hazmat thing just reminded me of Monsters Inc.
Yeah. 2318, 2319.
It's a sock. It's a sock.
It's a sock. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, guys, as usual, good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, and welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion. It is the end of June. No, sorry, July. I don't know. It's July, 22nd? It's July 22nd. Here in England, it feels like it's October. It even smells like it's October. It's very, very strange. Very, very strange. Everything is fucked up. Everything is so fucked up. Where to even start today? We've just been having this whole conversation about new mask laws and all the. I've had speaking personally myself, I've had a real moments this past couple of weeks of, we talk about it, the whole thing of like, this is not like, this reality is fucked. What fucking planet am I on? What reality am I in? Like, this is crazy. But this last couple of weeks, it, for me personally, has been so astounding, so over the top, unfathomable, unbelievable. The stuff that we're hearing, the stuff that's coming on the news, the things that are being said by purported people who know shit. That you literally, I had multiple moments. Yesterday, I spent the whole day yesterday in this state of, I almost want to say shock. Almost to that level of emotional, the way it touches you, of like almost being in a state of shock, where the insanity has reached such a point that you are not only not able to comprehend it, like mentally in your daily life, but emotionally, consciously. Yesterday I spent the entire, it's been almost like a screaming mantra in my head of like, I just need to walk away from this. I need to walk away from this. As in, find a farm somewhere, walk away from society. Society has systemically become so sick. And of course, I'm not talking sick like as in COVID sick. I'm talking, it has become so mentally sick, emotionally sick, that you get to the point of, like, I literally cannot work within the society anymore. You have those moments, you go out, we have, we've been here long enough that you now know the locals. Like, you go to the shops, you know the cashiers, the people running the post office, do you know? And those little interactions are okay. Those little one-on-one interactions you have with certain people, they're okay. Go next door to the pub, we know everyone over there. But on the greater scale of things, I am now so completely disconnected from everything that exists within this reality that literally, it's been shocking. It's been shocking to me that wanting to literally take my life and all that comes with it and just take it out of here, go put it in some quiet place, like I say, whether it's a farm or a farmstead or something, and start working on nothing, focusing my attention on the real, which for me is all the growing and all the herb stuff that I'm doing right now, massive amount of research into medicinal herbs and making tinctures and making all these things, because that's real, it's tangible. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the little things like our next door neighbor who runs the pub, him and his girlfriend love salad. We've had a glut of lettuce coming out of our garden, like we just cannot possibly eat it fast enough. And Nick will hand him a lettuce over the garden wall every couple of days, and a handful of cilantro or basil or whatever I'm bringing out of the garden. And just that act of giving, helping, enjoying, that is real. It's tangible. It's something that you can connect with. But everything else is unreal. I can't connect to it anymore. I can't it's almost emotionally painful now to leave the house and have to deal with the bullshit outside. So like I said, Nick gives me the news and the dribs and the drabs and the first thing in the morning, and he'll get up and he'll be like, so what, have you looked on Facebook today? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, so let me boil it down to you and give you like the highlights of today. This is this, this is this, this is what this person said, this is what they're doing over here. Oh, and like blah, blah, blah. And in that, I can sit there and I just go, I just can't. I can't. The lack of sanity, the lack of rational thought that is coming at us from everywhere, every side, every corner. It doesn't matter if you're left or right or Democrat or Republican or conservative or liberal, Christian or Muslim or Buddhist. It literally does not matter anymore. It is coming at us from all sides. The shit that is the new rules on this COVID-19, these mask laws that make no sense. And the fact that people are actually listening, people are actually believing them. One of my best friends, she's become so programmed, and she is so in absolute abject fear and insisting everyone has to wear masks. You must wear masks. And how can you not comprehend that the masks don't work? It says on the package, you go buy your little medical mask. It says on the package, will not stop you from getting COVID-19. Yet people can't, they're incapable. Then they say things, well, to stop you from infecting others. Do you not understand? If it can't stop the virus from coming in, then that means it can't stop the virus from going out. It's not a nanotech, high two-way density filtration system with nanoparticles that are going to be able to tell the difference and sequester all the virus particles. It's a piece of fucking paper. If it won't stop you from inhaling a virus, it won't stop you from exhaling a virus.
Danny.
Yeah, Dawn.
You know what it is? It's the realization when we're out that so many people are not smart enough to see it, and it's depressing. And I think it is getting to me too, because I was telling Maury last night, I was like, how is it that we live in a planet where people literally cannot figure this fucking out? When you got all these kids missing, all these kids are missing, and nobody gives a fuck, nobody cares, but wear that fucking mask.
And it's things like, for example,
yeah,
there's some new, and I haven't even got, before I even say this, come on and say, I have not read the document myself, because why the fuck would I? But like the Antifa Black Lives Matters have just put out some kind of a manifesto that is so epically insane, so over the top, beyond any case of rational thought, that you sit there, and like I said, I've seen excerpts from it and gone like, what? I have no words. What's wrong with people? And yet there are people who are buying into it, who believe it, who are chanting it, who are like, oh, yes, this is the way it is. Oh, yay, yay, thank you for putting this man up. Oh, complete, utter bullshit. And it kills me to think about these younger generation. This young generation who are like my kids' age, who are teenagers, who are in their early 20s, who, as we've talked about for ages. They have got the shittiest fucking existence on the planet already anyway. They have no hope of ever being able to do anything, go anywhere, be anyone, because the world is now just so financially fucked. The world is so now corrupt that there is nothing for this generation. And they're buying into these things. Well, I get it. When you're that desperate, if you can see how fucked everything is, being young, you're gonna grasp at any straw that's held out to you. But it literally breaks my heart to think that there are young people out there who are swallowing this bullshit, who actually believe that it's valid, who think that it is the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. And nothing you or I or any adult is ever going to be able to tell them can explain to them otherwise, because they've been so completely programmed into this shit. I don't understand.
That reminds me of some of the movies from the 80s and 70s when there was a kid that went into a cult and you had to kidnap the kid out of the cult and get some people to deprogram your children in a basement or something like that.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me.
And that's it. But now we're talking about it on a global scale, right? This isn't just, you're in a small town and some kid joins, I don't know, the Hare Krishnas and gets totally brainwashed, and you've got to go in and help them, and then you've got to deprogram. This is a global thing now. This is global. It's like the super cult. But the super cult, again, it's not left or right. It's everything. Everything's so unbelievable. Everything that they say or do, every one of these talking heads who opens their mouth is uttering such complete and unbelievable bullshit. And people can't see it.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, hon, go ahead.
Did you hear about what's happening to Tucker Carlson? So Tucker,
didn't he went nuclear? Didn't he went nuclear the other day?
Well, he's one of us for sure as far as what he's saying. So he left for a week to go be with his family because he was forced to move because somebody at the New York Times leaked out his address. So he moved his family, and 2 more reporters are going to tell everybody where he lives. Like, they're taking him on, like, straight up. And
okay, this is the shit, though. On what? In what reality is that okay?
It's not.
It's not.
It
doesn't matter if it's left or right, conservative, liberal. It does not matter. To actually endanger somebody's family's life because you don't agree with what he's saying, his opinion, is lunacy. Lunacy.
Hey, also, this crazy person that's been interviewed on the show, always over crazy stuff, has filed sexual harassment against him and 2 other people.
Yeah, because Tucker took off a jacket and put on another jacket, and she thinks that is code for he wants to have sex with her, and so she was sexually harassing him.
What?
I've never seen I've never seen anything like this as far as going after somebody to this amount of pressure.
And see, this person that's filing these charges, this is how crazy she is. She was on his show one time saying that parents needed to get permission from their infants before changing their diaper.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That's the kind of crazy that she is.
But this is the thing.
So hold on, do those kids have then to travel back from the future to the past to give their parents the okay to change the diaper, or how does that work?
You can't even. It's like people sitting there saying you can't say to your dog good girl or good boy because, my God, you're defining their gender. Fuck off! Fuck
Hey.
off! Your dog's a boy, your dog's a girl, your dog's an it. Doesn't fucking matter. Holy shit. They've lost the plot. Go ahead, Christy, before I start ranting again.
As a mom with two very vocal scorpion daughters, I thought screaming babies with dirty diapers was the baby version of what the fuck is taking you so long? Why is it my ass clean right now? God damn it.
Exactly.
Isn't that permission?
That's permission, I'm pretty fucking sure. This is the insanity. Like, the insanity is everywhere now. It's like in everything. Listen, okay? Due to something that China's doing, this whole thing with the alleged Chinese genocide against the Muslim people in China, apparently the US has told China to close down their embassy. And then someone filed a report saying that the Chinese embassy is burning documents. So the police went, the local police, not the feds, the local police went to question the Chinese embassy of why they're burning documents. We had this conversation when the US shut down the Russian embassy. And then did all this fucking exact same shit, raided the embassy, took all their computers, etc. It is against the fucking law. The Chinese embassy is Chinese national ground. They could literally do whatever the fuck they want on their land because it's China. And the fact that the local police actually listened to these people and went and investigated, they were burning documents. Yeah, because the American embassy's never burned documents before. No, they wouldn't do
No,
that.
and never with ceramite. They never use ceramite to do so.
No.
They don't even have protocols.
No, totally.
Danny, it's the consulate in Houston where that happened. So China has the embassy, and then they have 5 consulates in Houston, San Francisco. I forget where the other ones are. But anyway, they've been given 72 hours to leave.
Yeah.
And so there's a place where people live in Houston, that work at that consulate, and they're all being evicted. They're supposed to get the hell out by Friday.
Yep.
Are you serious,
Yeah.
Anna? How come I missed this?
I just saw it this morning, Don. At first I saw it and it was a meme someone put up, and I had to go and look and see if there was, really an article behind
Good for
it.
you.
And there
Good
is.
for you, Anna.
I can't point you to it. I'm driving right now, but
Yeah, I saw it too, Dawn and Anna.
So they gave him 72 hours to get out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The U.S. government did it to China. They told them to close down the embassy in Houston, and they're burning their shit in the courtyard. And then what Danny's talking about.
Wow.
Probably related to Hong Kong.
No, apparently it's related to this supposed purported genocide that the Chinese are doing against Muslims from a certain ethnic background in China. That's what I'd heard. Again, I will say I have not researched this because fuck news. I'm not going to go read it. You can't make me.
Did you hear that?
China's floating away right now, literally.
Twitter has banned QAnon posts and everything from their platform.
Exactly. Okay, this is another example of what are we all, a bunch of fucking children? People aren't allowed to make up their own mind anymore about what they do or don't believe, what they can or can't read. The fact that a mainstream, massive social platform, we get it. They've been doing this all along. Twitter's been doing this for fucking years. So has Facebook. So has YouTube. We know it goes on continuously. But to literally go out and do this, delete. And I think someone said it was like over 150,000 accounts got deleted on Twitter. Anything to do with QAnon. Not that I agree with QAnon. But you know what? They have a right to speak their fucking opinion. And I have the right to read it if I want to. I have the right to read the information that they're putting out if I'm doing my own research. Of course I do.
It's backfired because a lot of people are going to go and look at what they've banned because, like, I wasn't into Q and you've banned it, so now
I
you've
have to go
banned
take it seriously
Why?
somehow.
Yeah, so
It must be
let's
tasty.
have a look at this.
Regardless, the insanity right now has gone to a level that is, I can't fathom any parent choosing to put their children back into school this September. With the social distancing bullshit that they're putting on these poor children, with the we have seen horrific reports, and I'm not talking about America, I'm talking about Europe. I'm talking about shit that has come out that have been shown it to be happening in England, in all different areas of Europe. Kids being sprayed down with disinfectant? Are you fucking kidding me? Kids, 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds being told, here's this little circle you're allowed to play in. You're not allowed to leave that circle. On what fucking planet is it okay to cage? That's what they're doing. Cage a child. Tell them they're not allowed to play with another child who's in the next cage over from them. You're not allowed to touch another child. You're not allowed to share a toy with another child. In what realm is this not child abuse? And I'm frozen again, aren't I? There goes my internet. Fuck off. Fucking hate the internet.
No, you're fine. Well, you're fine.
Am I
here.
back? Okay. If this happened, if they walked into my house tomorrow, if someone in the neighborhood reported and the cops came into my house and I had circles drawn on the floor in my living room and my children were not allowed to step outside their circle, they were not allowed to do anything. They could only go to the bathroom under extreme circumstances with being escorted there and then disinfected and the whole bit. I would be tried for child abuse. My kids would be taken away from me and I would be up for child abuse. So why is it okay for the education system to be doing this, and why are parents allowing it? We vote with our feet. This is my whole thing. I say this over and over again, and I have done for years. We vote with our feet. If they're instituting these laws into your fucking child's elementary school, high school, doesn't matter what level of school it is, then it's time to vote with your feet. And I understand I have made the hard decisions 18 years ago to struggle on a single paycheck in our household. I made that hard fucking decision to not go back to work so that I was the one raising our children. And I've continued to make that hard decision to this day. It's not fun. Living paycheck to paycheck, being fucking broke all the time and having to say to your kids, no, we can't go to the zoo because if we go to the zoo, it's going to cost 80 quid for us to go to the zoo. No, we can't go out for dinner tonight to McDonald's or anywhere because we don't have any money. It fucking sucks. But you know what? These are the decisions we make for the welfare of our children, because that is the most important decision as a parent I can make. And I think it's going to have to be a big wake-up moment. And we've talked about the education system. We've talked about the corruption of the education, the dumbing down of the world and this younger generations that's going on through public education and private education. Let's call it what it is, public and private. Okay? The choice point is here, and it's being placed in front of everyone right now. In a lot of ways, I'm kind of liking it in the fact of it's making a lot of people seriously rethink the education system. And they've had a test run. They had 4 months of a test run of homeschooling. And they've realized that this actually isn't so hard as I thought. Well, this wasn't as daunting as I thought it would be. Oh, we can actually do this. Hey, look, my children are happy. Oh, hey, look, my children are actually excelling at certain things. Wow, isn't this just amazing? But now it's a choice point. And it is time for people to stand up and vote with their feet. If everyone starts pulling all their children, you're going to do what to my children when they go back to school in September? Yeah, fuck you. I'll homeschool. If 50% of the schools open up in September and 50% of them are empty, like by 50%, things are going to have to change. I don't know. We're at this point right now. We're at a point where we have to start making the hard decisions. And like I said, for me, getting getting outside of society is one of my driving forces now. One of my driving forces of like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my family off grid, so to speak.
You
As
just
off
said
grid
it,
as that
Danny.
can be.
You just said it, and I want to reemphasize it because it's really important what you said. A choice point. That's just 2 words, but that's what it's all about. And you notice it's worldwide. There's no escape this time for anybody.
Nope.
Nobody. And it's, various issues will rise in different people. Some are upset by the education more than something else. Others are upset by, the masking in the grocery stores or whatever the hell it is. Nobody gets to escape. They get to make that decision. Do I comply or do I not? And why? It doesn't matter. Even the kids, even the school kids have, they may be compelled to do something, but internally they get to make an internal choice. Do I agree with this or not?
Yep.
It is that comprehensive, ubiquitous is the word.
Yep.
It is that ubiquitous in the world. Now that you step back and look at that, when's the last time that ever happened in human history that we know about? Never.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of.
Not in broad scale, like you said, Maury. It is in every aspect. It's whether you're going to talk about the health of your family, whether it's you're going to talk about the education, whether you're going to talk about finances when they are taking your last pennies and they're not going to give you change back because you went to the store and paid cash and they went, hey, we have a change shortage, so we're going to keep your last 15 cents. These are choice points now. We are at this point where people need to start making the decisions. And even if it is fucking the system in the little tiny ways, i.e., for example, if you got a store and you know they're not going to give you change back and you go in and buy a $7 packet of tobacco, then go in with $7 worth of nickels and fucking dimes and pay it to the goddamn penny and line up every time and do the exact same fucking thing. Pay it to the penny and pay it in fucking change. But you guys have got a change shortage, so you have to accept my change. Look, I'm being so generous. I'm so supportive. I'm going to pay this $12 in dimes and nickels and pennies because I wouldn't want you to be without your change. So look what a good citizen I am. I'm going to pay it in pennies. Oh, yeah. These are the kinds of things. It's the thing, like I said, fucking calling the hazmat. Your local council, your local municipal office, there's a bio waste on the sidewalk. You need to come deal with it right fucking now. If you see a mask, gloves, a fucking used tissue on the sidewalk, call the biohazard. Say, come fucking deal with this. If there's a pandemic, these masks are a biohazard. You, by law, must clean up the biohazard and force them to fucking do it.
Hey, Danny, I got another one, and it's really from left field, but it's right on money. I worked for a long time in a paper mill that had a union.
Yep.
And when we were coming up near contract, amongst the workers, we knew the way that we get them is we work according to the contract. If it said you don't do something unless this happens, that happens, or the other thing happens, then you don't do it. And and that slows them down because in normal practice anywhere, they always, they got their manual for operation and then they operate. And it's always skirting around shit. You know that anywhere you've ever worked, it's always been that way.
Yep.
But that's how and what you're talking about is exactly how you actually, you do it according to the law, the letter of the law. And it stops everything. It slows it down to a crawl.
Yep.
That's how you fight them. If you want to engage them, that's how you engage them. You actually
great
know
way.
the law
Because
better
then you're
than they
doing
do.
exactly. You follow the letter of the contract and let them deal with the fallout of that. And we did that at a place that I worked at. And when I was out in BC and I was running a bar, and there are mandatory laws about how many breaks you have to take and with how many hours you could work without having a break. And you got 15-minute breaks and you got half-hour lunch break. And if you work X many hours, it was like this. And we had a manager who we really, really hated. And we decided, yeah, we're going to fuck you up real good. You want to be an asshole? And we all started taking our mandatory breaks. No more just, hey, watch the bar for 2 seconds. I'm going to stick outside for a quick 2-second cigarette where you go, you suck it back fast and run back in. No. We went outside for the full 15-minute break and timed it almost to the second of coming back in. I know, no, like eating your lunch really quickly behind the bar and going back to work. No. Took our full half-hour lunch break, scheduled them in for the whole staff, made the staff, everyone had to take a full half-hour break. Follow the law. We also made them clean all our uniforms, which was a law that they didn't know existed, but I found it, that as if you wore a uniform, the company had to be responsible for the cleaning of them. So we all took off our uniforms at the end of the day and dumped them in front of the manager's office. I'm like, we'd like those pressed and cleaned, please. Bring them back tomorrow. I'm on shift by 9 o'clock in the morning. I expect it to be all cleaned and ready for me then. Good boy. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking
well, you'll find
crazy.
out that ends the. They have a course correction from management from then on, and it goes above the local level quickly.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of decisions, and unfortunately, while there are a lot of people waking up, and I've been really encouraged this week. I over at the local pub had several conversations this week with people, and just because I like to play that game. So hey guys, what's with this new mandatory mask law? And then just let them, and they're all literally everyone in the pub. Like at one point there was about 6 of us sitting around talking, and everyone was just like, "It's fucking stupid. It doesn't even make sense. It's retarded." There was not a single person who was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta wear a mask next week." No, everyone, they saw it. So there's hope. Like I have these glimmerings of hope that come through. You're like, more and more people are waking up. But the stupider this shit gets, more and more people are waking up and figuring and going, whoa, wait a second. But is it enough? Yeah, Christy, talk to me.
I had a pleasurable moment 2 weeks ago. We were picking the children up from the grandparents. We meet halfway, have lunch somewhere. I went in, refused to put a mask on. Everybody else in the group had their masks on. We get home, my husband says to me, who doesn't buy into any of this, he says, I really don't see how wearing a mask from the door to the table and then taking it off to eat actually accomplishes anything.
Shocking, isn't it?
And then a second enlightenment moment. My father has been calling my eldest daughter, to do FaceTime because he needs a little humor during lockdown down in Dallas. So he calls her to get stupid people stories to bring humor to his life because of how she's interacting still with some of her college friends.
Nice.
There's a little hope out there.
This is it. And this is where I keep coming back to stuff like, I can remember us starting the whole thing in 2013, doing the shows, and the shows we just kept demanding, give us Give us transparency. Give us transparency. Just hit us with the transparency. We want the transparency. And every year it's been fucking. You don't get the insanity is so transparent right now. You really can't miss it unless you're a bot. So is that it? Is that where we at? Are we at this point where it, whatever is running this fucking operating system, is literally going to make it so fucking transparent that it's complete and utter idiocy, that there's just no possible way anyone could not turn around and go, what the fuck?
One thing that is kind of interesting is how powerful that herd mentality is. Like here's me, someone that knows all the research about all this stuff, and you go into a store, you get handed a mask, and it's really tempting just to be like, okay, well, I don't want to really cause a commotion, so I guess I'll just wear it. But then I'm like, no, I'm not going to. Like, if I'm going to be the only person without one, fine. And have some person come up to me, I'll just tell them, fuck you, I have a medical condition. Right? Or I don't believe in masks or whatever. But like, I just find it interesting how difficult it is, even with having all the knowledge, to totally go against the grain. Like, but I'm kind of used to doing that, so.
Well, Zero, just before you got in, I talked about exactly that and said the fact that like here we have it's $100. If you go into a shop without a mask, they're going to charge you $100. That's like $120 American.
Hey, Danny.
So I don't have the money. So I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to put on the fucking mask if I've got to go in and get groceries.
But your police are actually, our police are actually resigning here because they don't want to do any of this. So we're losing a lot here in Houston. And so it surprises me that your police are willing to do this.
Yeah, ours aren't. I have been going in every store I need to go in without a mask this whole time. And it's weird because before Governor Abbott issued his stupid mask order, when I would go into Kroger, it would be 50% with mask and 50% without. Well, now, since he issued that order, it's like everyone just became brain dead. And so now I'm usually the only one without a mask. I might see one or two other people. And then all of a sudden, all of the convenience stores put up signs that you can't come in without a mask. And I rarely go into convenience stores, but I've been 3 times into 2 different convenience stores in my neighborhood. And, just walk right in spite of that sign. And so far, no one anywhere has said anything to me at all about not wearing a mask. Not even, the people where they have a blatant sign on the door that you can't enter without it, but I do, and they don't say anything.
I've had that same experience, Anna, down here, up here, wherever the hell I am, up down in the middle, in Pensacola. Same thing. I've been in a lot of different stores. The only one I know for sure that is trying to enforce it, and I didn't push it. I did go into a Walmart grocery store and needed something that they had and nobody else did. And they did have somebody, but I talked to the lady at the front. And on the way out, she thanked me for putting my mask on. I said, it's bullshit. She says, I know. And then the guy coming out right next to me who had his mask on properly, and he started a conversation with me, and he said, hey, this is crazy. Of course, I had my mask off immediately, and I know I wore it below my nose. Nobody said shit. But the rest of the places, what Anna just said is true. I've been in probably 10 different stores along the way. They've all got the sign, but I go in and nobody challenges me. I don't get no dirty looks. I'm finally getting to the point. I said, damn, do they even see me?
Well,
but I
Mari,
keep going.
You're the invisible man.
Well, Mari, even Walmart, my daughter and I were going into Walmart one day last week, and they have set up, they got the people, you can only go in one door, and they got the people there to hand out masks. So when the people saw me without a mask and wanted to give me one, in my purse, in a baggie, I have this lace mask that I made. I never put it on, but I have it just in case I'm ever absolutely forced to. And so I just pulled that out, and I said, I have my own, and I went on by them. And so my daughter and I walked all through Walmart without putting the mask on. And about halfway through, we're walking down the middle aisle, and there are these two people coming toward us also without masks, and everyone else pretty much had masks. And so they announce over the loudspeaker, it's mandatory that everyone wears masks. And it's so funny, those people that were coming toward us pulled their T-shirts up over their noses because I guess they thought the announcement was specifically for them. It probably was for us too, but they pulled their shirts up over their noses. We still didn't do anything. We finished going around getting what we needed. We checked out. We never put a mask on, and no one said anything.
So, Danny. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, darling. No.
Nancy.
Nancy. Good morning, Nancy.
Hi. So remember a couple of shows ago, maybe about a month ago, I said there was no hostility here in Whitby.
Yeah.
So we're just outside of Toronto, guys, for any of you guys that don't know where Whitby, Ontario is. Well, now it's completely changed. So last week they came out with their mandatory mask order. So, and the government of Ontario didn't mandate it because they can't enforce it. So what they've done is they've let each region or county decide. So Durham region, where I am, has said, yes, mandatory masks in public places. And they're leaving it to the shop owners to enforce it. So now when you go out, they can refuse you, even if you have a medical excuse or a reason not to wear a mask, they can refuse you entry to the store. So, fine. So there's open hostility now when you go out, and our town is really, really quiet. So I said to my husband, I said, you know what? I said, it's not if you win or lose this game. I said, it's how smart we play it. Do you really want someone to take a crowbar to your head because people are losing their shit if you're not wearing a mask?
Yeah.
So we're trying to play the game smart. So like the property that we just bought up in Minden, quiet, Halliburton, he shot a 73-year-old guy because he did the mask bullshit. And that's like out in the sticks. Well, not out in the sticks like where Gorf is, but
I heard about
out
that.
in the sticks. Yeah. So,
Jesus.
you know, so what I don't get though is we only have in Ontario about 120 new cases a day. We're not even in a hot spot like Dawn or, you know, anywhere else. Like 120 cases and they've mandated masks. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It seems to be
So,
global.
you know,
the whole,
like I
sorry.
just, you know, I have the right, say, to walk through the park at midnight, but is it smart? So we're trying to play this game smart.
Play the long game, you know, not
Yes.
the.
Yes, the long game. Right. That's exactly it. So I hope that helps someone else when you get confronted with a decision that you don't believe in and you go, okay, so am I going to win? Am I going to lose? How smart am I going to play this? Because people are openly hostile now and it's, you don't know who you're dealing. It's like everybody's got road rage. I heard Joe Rogan talking and he says it's like everybody's dialed up to an 8 right now and they're just waiting for that one little thing that's going to put them at that 10 and you might be the next victim. So other than that, you just, I mean, you have to go out and get supplies unless you can order everything in. So anyways, I thought that might help somebody that's conflicted. Just let's see if you can, like, you know, Zero said, play the long game, play it smart. It's crazy.
Yep.
It seems like the global thing because, like, at least here in Melbourne, they can put forward there's all these cases and people are dying. We're up to 35 now, and but the entire globe is not the same as like. Did New York have masks when they were having their first peak? And it just seems like either the governments have been told what to do by a small group of people, or the governments are teenagers and they're just trying to keep up with the Joneses type thing. It's like, well, they're wearing masks, we're going to wear masks, okay? It's like fucking
They're wearing masks. We're going to wear masks.
It's kind of like oh, we're pregnant, better wear a condom. Like, but
I mean, that's exactly it. Go ahead, Zero. Go ahead.
Another little point I just wanted to mention earlier when we were talking about, like, are people waking up? I thought I'd just throw in here is, dude, someone posted that Operation Looking Glass video, and my parents watched it with me. It was an open mind, and that was like, what world am I living in? Like, like they were watching it, and they were like pretty And so they're kind of slowly waking up, which is interesting.
They didn't
know
storm out of the room, so there's your first step.
Like they know all about vaccines, and now they're against vaccines, and now they don't think Bill Gates is a good guy, and they know all the pedophile, satanic stuff that happens in Hollywood now, and I'm just like, man, who are they? So there is some hope, I think. Oh, hi, my cat wants to love me.
I see that. Okay, Lori just put something in here. It's just cracking me up. Out where I live, there are a lot of guys that open carry. One of them, who doesn't wear masks, decided to put on a cowboy hat, a bandana, and open carry into the grocery store. Fucking love it. Yes.
I heard of a story.
I mean, you
that,
can't do that in the UK, and you can't really do that in Canada. But if you're in the fucking States and you've got an open carry license, I want to fucking Spurs cowboy boots, put on the hat, put on the bandana, and walk into the bank.
I saw a story of the reverse of it, where the police are looking for a suspect who was unmasked. 20 years.
Oh, by the way, speaking of that, there was a headline the other day in Germany speaking about COVID. So the COVID crisis has hit the funeral homes the hardest. People aren't dying anymore as often as they used to.
Well, that doesn't go against the narrative at all. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's funny. That's fucking funny.
But over here, we cracked the joke. So has that to do with people not going in hospitals anymore and getting killed by the hospitals? Could that be one reason?
Listen. Deaths across the board are down. Obviously, there's been an increase in suicides. There's been an increase of those kind of deaths. But deaths due to certain medical problems have dropped significantly since March, when all these lockdowns began. One of the biggest ones that's dropped, and I've now seen 2 posts by 2 different doctors on this, is SIDS. All of a sudden, babies weren't dying of crib death. They weren't dying of SIDS. You want to know why? Because while lockdown was on, there was no fucking vaccinations given to newborn infants. So therefore, wow, infants weren't fucking dying. That's a statistic. Now, I'm waiting for the 2020 statistics because all those statistics are released. I want to see the hard fucking statistic on some of these things. If you see a drop off of cancer deaths, if all of a sudden we look and you see, here's your cancer line, and then all of a sudden we go, oh, March through May, there was a drop in cancer deaths, it kind of gives a little proof that it wasn't the cancer killing those people, that it was a chemotherapy, wasn't it? And if all of a sudden we see a drop off in all these different areas where now people are not dying, why? Because they're staying fucking home and treating it themselves.
Yeah, the medical system's not doing its job. What of killing people?
Of killing people.
Yeah, I should clarify that.
You got to be clear about these things, Monty. Be clear.
I actually shared a Facebook post, which I'll probably put it in the UU thingy. So you're telling me the corrupt system is corrupt? Please go on. And a lot of people are finding that out, where nothing works and it's exposing everything. Like, funeral homes are losing money because people aren't dying during a pandemic. No. Like, I can see why, it hurts the brain, where it's cognitive dissonance, where like, this doesn't make sense.
Listen, there are a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are having a lot of hard time. I have a good friend who has cancer, who's had 0 treatment of any kind, because of all the close downs. My dad has cancer. Now, he is not even remotely open to anything natural, which I can't understand given his past experiences. And it made me really, really sad to know that he starts radiation treatment next week after 6 months of waiting.
Hey, my mom did the same shit. She fucking took my medicine, but then took the chemo, because my sisters were traditional and it killed her ass. So I'm with you.
And there's nothing you can do. Like, this is my whole thing is like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that comes down to what it talks about medical advice, whether you're talking about truth, whether you're talking about research. We cannot force anyone to change their mind, to change their ways, to change their programming. They have got to do it themselves. And it kills us. Sorry, go ahead, Zero.
In a similar vein is, like, I have to remind myself constantly to have compassion over some of these people that just can't understand, because they have this cognitive dissonance that literally does not enable them to consider the alternative. That this whole thing could be, because like they've watched their business they've worked years and years and years on just crumble to pieces. They've watched loved ones, like, anyway, and like it's really hard for some people to even accept the possibility that the reason why their lifelong business crumbled to pieces in a month is because of something that was fake. Like,
it was fake, corrupt, that had nothing to do with it. Yep.
It just literally can't process. So it's sometimes, it reminds me of when I would tell people way back in like 2002, hey, guess what? 9/11 is an inside job. Not our country. Like, like literally can't process. So just a friendly reminder.
And that's the programming, right? This is what I'm saying. We've talked about this for years. When even simple things like Mandela effect shit, right? There is a programming layer in there. And Nick said it to me way, way back when all this first lockdown started. And I agree 100% now. When I look at everything the way it's played out, we always, what's the agenda behind this whole pandemic? What's the agenda? And well, we don't know what the agenda is, right? Like, there's 1,000 different, there's all kinds of different ideas, there's all different kinds of theories, and et cetera, and all different levels to them, right? But one of the main ones to me is that it gave them the ability to reprogram everyone. The people who were starting to wake up and slip away, they reprogrammed them with constant media attention, constant news, constant everything. And we've got a great little chippy truck that's down by our local grocery store, and the man and the woman who run it are awesome, so fucking awake. Every time we go into the grocery store, we stop and get a hot dog and stand there and chat with them for like 10-15 minutes. And they're saying like the girl was there this week, and she was saying that after when it all started up here in England, they were all taking nighttime jobs because all the chippy trucks were closed down. So they all went and got nighttime jobs working at Tesco, stocking shelves, etc., which left their mom home alone by herself. And what did she do? She watched the BBC, she watched news 24/7, got herself worked up to such an extent that she was hysterical. And their dad came home and finally was like, that's it. And he fucking was like, no more news is allowed in this house. No more. We're not watching any news. You're not watching any more of the shit. Social media gets fucking turned off. No more. Because this is what it's doing to you. It's like, to her mom, it's turned you into a neurotic, hysterical person. That's the programming. That's the programming. And I honestly, that's one of my biggest things is that's what it was. A good portion of what we saw play out was to bring people back under that programmed state. And we see it all the time. The conversations we have in Unfuckers, how many people have commented about the fact of like, I had friends, they were starting to wake up, and now all of a sudden they're just saying the most ridiculous things about masks or about the virus or about mandated lockdowns, et cetera, et cetera. They got reprogrammed.
Hey, Danny. The other thing that's happening is people are leaving the city in droves. I've been trying to get my house refinanced, and there's so many people moving right now that they don't have time.
Yep.
They are leaving in droves. All the properties up north here, it's like, it's incredible.
Yeah, Nancy, I think you bought your property just in time.
We did.
I'm hearing that. Yeah, I'm hearing that in Ontario.
So we were looking in typical cottage country. So we're in the Algonquin Highlands, that's south of Algonquin Park. And so we looked at one property and it was just $25,000, nothing on it. And so my husband put an offer in and she says, you're too late. They got 3 times the asking price. And I said, are you kidding me? So the one that we bought is about 1 acre and it has a little cabin on it. It's like only about like 700 square feet, or not even that, maybe 200 square feet. But we got a well dug and some other stuff. But so we bought that they were asking 97,000. We put in an offer for 90,000 and we got it right away. And I went, okay, what's wrong with it? Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. But the lady said the same thing that you just said. We just got in time because everybody's heading for the hills. We wanted to buy an RV to put it on there like a trailer.
Yep.
Forget that.
How much have they just gone up in price? I've been hearing this in Canada. All of a sudden, mobile homes, trailers, Winnebagos.
Everyone's bucking out. So
we just got an RV. Yeah, we just got an RV like a couple months ago before all this happened. And now the prices of RVs have skyrocketed.
I'm wishing we could have bought one last year when we first arrived. When we first arrived, you could still get an old, needs a lot of work, but workable for about 500 quid.
My parents were thinking about getting that like several years ago, but they didn't do it.
I have a good friend of mine who I've known fucking since high school. She has a little house out just off of a pondish lake, very small lake, kind of a pondish place, but it's out. So Nancy, it would be out Milton Way, but beyond Milton. And she got it for a song. She got it for quite a good song, quite a good price because the house was just a disaster. She's a single woman by herself. Last time I talked to her, she was like, oh, the roof leaks. We have problems here, there. It's going to take me, every penny I make, I'm sinking into the house to just make it livable type thing. But she's got a lovely piece of property, probably about 1 acre. Nice. She was just offered, even with the condition of the house, which she's still working on, she was just offered 5 times what she paid for it.
Oh.
And she was like, fuck no. No, this is my place. Like, she's made it hers. And she's like, this is my place. This is where I'm going to live for the rest of my life. You can't have it. This is my only sense of paradise that I have left on this planet. But she couldn't believe it. She was just like, 5 times the price.
You know, it's funny because it's all out of town. So even in Whitby, so we're not in Toronto. The prices are crazy, but actually, you know what? No, our neighbor's price sold lower. He was asking 700,000, and he only got 620, I think. So it's gone opposite out of town and lower into town. So, you know, it's funny though. I was reading a book by a man. Argelia, or I can't even say his last name. He was talking about Venezuela or Argentina. Gosh, I don't remember. But there was an economic collapse, not the recent one, but one many years ago. And he writes on that Shit Hit the Fan website all the time. And he wrote a book, and he was talking about survival tactics when shit hits the fan. And he was saying, you know, everybody thinks that when you move out to the countryside that you're safe. But what happened where he lived was people assumed, because people lived out in the country, that they were wealthier. So when they ran out of food in the towns and the cities, everybody went out to the countryside. And they would take over farms, and gangs would murder farmers and things like that. So really, yeah. Oh, I'll try to get the name of the book. It was.
Yeah, do send it to me because I want to check that out.
Yeah, it was Surviving the Economic Collapse, I think, by Jose Argelias. I can't say it. It's Spanish, so I can't say it. But it was really interesting because he was talking about, you know, tactics, just like urban survival tactics in the city. But his main comment was, is if you think you're safe, think again, because you don't have close neighbors and stuff like that. So now we're not at that state yet, but oh my goodness. You know, I mean, we saw the big failure of CHOP or Chaz or whatever the hell it's called. I mean, it self-imploded, right? So, I mean, is that what without rule of law would look like? I sure hope not.
I hope not. We have an ongoing conversation in this house about various shows, video games, etc. So there's what is it, the Left of Us? The Left. What's the one that just
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, which is all about a zombie apocalypse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how they've all gone into these factions and everyone's warring. The factions are warring, and it's just a kill zone. Well, no, okay, it's a video game, all first-person shooters. So, and The Walking Dead, of course. I mean, The Walking Dead, that's what it's all about. It's the fact that everyone just loses their fucking shit and becomes insane. And I so disagree. You would always have elements of that, because there are those soulless fucking people who just don't give a shit. Right?
It almost feels like they're trying to normalize chaos amidst.
Well,
May
that
I
comes down to
point-
that whole Agenda 21 thing, right? If you basically if you make everyone so fearful that they will demand that you take their freedoms away, right? We watched all together. We all sat down and watched The Winter Soldier, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, like fucking 2 years ago. And that was the whole idea of Project Insight, was that they were going to, the government guys were going to identify all the troublemakers in advance and take them all out. Giving away all their freedoms in the hopes of remaining safe. And that's what, we know that's part of the plan. We know that. But at the same time, there's the counter to that too. It's like humanity, who is humanity, the real humans are the real humans. And we don't do shit like that. This is part of the thing. Nick and I had this whole conversation this morning talking about it, of like getting into a community where you get to a point where you set up a barter and trade thing where, if someone's got eggs and someone else has got lettuce and someone else has got potatoes, and you trade around and you barter and you become each other's support basis. That can work in an urban setting too, right? Like that doesn't just have to be out with a group of farmers. That can also be in an urban setting. I've talked about it for years. So humans intrinsically know the difference between good and bad.
And it also
it has
seems
nothing
like
to do with religion. It has nothing to do with
No.
religions and moral dogma. It's instinctively, what is good and what is bad.
like when humans see someone suffering, their instinct is to take care of that person. And what's interesting about the media is that anytime there's like a shutdown or government shutdown or whatever, they show it in the media as if like everyone's going crazy, like in The Purge or whatever. It's like, and that's not our natural nature. And it's almost like they're trying to program us that like, okay, during lawlessness, this is how you behave. And really, like, how many of us have seen humans get together in extraordinary ways and help people in extraordinary ways?
You look at New Orleans. Let's look at New Orleans, right? In New Orleans, the news showed nothing during the flooding, the horrific shit that happened. They showed nothing but looters and all the violent, horrific things. They did not once did CNN show footage of the communities coming together, the people helping each other, the people working together, because there was tons of that. It was the same thing when we see so many different events that have happened, devastational events, and people come together as a community and help each other out. Go ahead, Maury.
Yeah, Danny. This another step back moment here for me, and I want to share it. It really boils down to a question we each have to ask ourselves and come to an answer. You can't just put it off anymore. External events have made it that way. You have to ask the question at least. Who am I? Really? There's two versions being offered right now, and it's pretty one or the other. You've got, on one hand, you've got the dystopian future that the system has been offering us for the last actually 50, 60 years in our in our external programming through Hollywood and books and every other darn thing in the news media. And that is what they're offering us, the potential, the future. If they're allowed to continue, that is exactly what they're going towards, a lockdown 1984 type society.
Yeah.
The other option is the Dolores Cannon version, or a version something similar to that. And you can't get away from it. If you buy into the system programming, which is the mask people, the ones that really accept it, the Karens or whatever the hell they call themselves nowadays, they're basically telling you that's where they're at. They buy into the dystopian future. The non-mask wearers are the ones that are looking at something else. And not everybody buys into Dolores Cannon, but she is talking about a separation.
But
you can't, the peaceful coexistence, or the friction-filled coexistence, that's being pulled asunder. And you only can pull something so far before the rubber band breaks.
Yep. I agree.
You get my point.
Absolutely. That's regardless of the agenda. Because like I said, there's 1,000 different theories out there of what the final agenda is. Who's trying to push what, where, when, why, how, right? Regardless of the agenda, there is a split happening. And I know there's a lot of, really came up a lot in 2015, a lot of this, oh, you can't say split because you're doing us and them, and that's a terrible negative thing. But unfortunately, the reality of it is there is an us and them. There is, and we see it, and it has become very, very clear. Very, very clear. And the split is happening because the people who are, whether we want to call it waking up, or we want to call it being able to think rationally, or whatever you want to call that, are starting to sit there and go, wait, no. And then you have the others who are completely 100% programmed, who seemingly are incapable of breaking out of that loop. And that split is happening. That's just fact. That's just fact. And it's not us trying to play, well, we're better than you are because we're us and you're them. No, it's a matter of, and exactly, it's oil and water. Completely natural substances. Completely natural. The split happens. You can shake it all up, and it all looks mixed for a while, but as soon as you set it aside to sit still, the split happens naturally. And that's what's happening right now. Now, Mercedes made a really good point here about the whole thing about, about the pandemics. We talk about coming together in community, and people and humans will naturally come together. And the fact that they have been doing a wonderful bit of programming to program everyone of, social distancing. You got to be afraid of your neighbors because, my God, they might be contagious. And that is a really subtle piece of program that they put in, and it is insidious. I walked around the grocery store the other day and watched how people, even though there was no lineups outside, I haven't seen a lineup outside the grocery store in well over a month. Even though there are no lineups, people are now so programmed that you watch them and you'll see two carts, and this person is at the oranges and is picking oranges, and people will wait that 2 meters behind them. They don't come right up behind them and start picking the oranges in the bin or the lemons in the bin next to them. No. They're standing there and waiting, or you see them and like the cart, and it's like this, and they go around each other, and it's insidious. It's insidious, but they fucking instituted it.
I even have to catch myself doing it. I'm
yeah,
like,
same
shit.
with me.
Like I do it, then I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I don't believe in this. So I'm like, okay, yeah, fuck that. But I have to like actively like fight against it. It's weird.
But for me, this may be stupid logic, I do it out of respect for the other people. Because you don't know if the other person who's buying the oranges in front of you is a complete panicked hypochondriac who's going to completely freak out. I don't need a scene. I don't need a scene. So you know
like
what? I'm
Nancy
just going to
said.
stand back and let them go and do their thing, and then I have to wait an extra 20 seconds? Oh dear, I'll just wait.
Yeah, and was it Nancy that said to play the long game? I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
you don't know if that
Sometimes
person's
you
just going to
play
snap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's really, really, really crazy.
You know what I find really insidious is these Orwellian snitch lines. If you remember in Orwell's 1984, they had children to report on their parents and to report on their neighbors. And I came across, just by random, I don't know what it was, some Facebook post with some lady freaking out on her post saying, nice party at the end of your driveway. I'm going to report you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, have we come to this?
If we come to this. Yeah. But they think they're being a good citizen by reporting them.
Contact tracing is the term they use in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of the world.
All over the place, this contact tracing.
They're paying big money too. People are getting paid $50,000-$60,000 a year.
Exactly. Well, they got to do something to convince people. If people are bust ass broke and desperate for money, and they can get a job making $18 an hour as a contact tracer, they're going to take their decision and go, oh, fuck it, I got to have the job. I'll take it anyway. It's the only way you're going to get it. It's the only way you're going to get people to do the job, right? I get it. This is the fuck-uppery of it all.
I think you nailed it when you said we're at the point where decisions need to be made.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Just what I was saying earlier about deciding whether or not you're going to send your child into school in September.
Oh, I missed that part. I'm sorry, I came in late.
No problem, hon. Like whether you're going to, we may have to make decisions about how we're going to stand up to things. So I was joking about the money thing, right?
Right.
Where they won't give you your silver change back. So go in and pay for that $7 worth of stuff. Pay it in pennies and nickels and dimes. And then say, well, I know you guys are short of change, so I'm bringing you change. Do that. Fucking everybody do that.
Can I bring something up that is somehow a little bit related, but somehow not? Since you mentioned earlier Last of Us 2 and what a shit show that whole game has been. So there were a lot of people that were protesting against this, but they took another angle, like civilian disobedience, like the way we talked about this just now. So they took those pictures everyone was furious about, or these scenes, and painted them by themselves. So they took million or hundreds of different pictures of the same picture. Everything is painted itself. I can drop the video link in there. And to be honest, this was pure art, what they made. Like they fucked with them. They made a lot of fun about it, but in a way, they couldn't complain it because there's no copyright infringement, no nothing, and they still made a lot of fun about it.
Yeah.
Just to mention it.
There's decisions that we make, but yeah, it's like I said, would I take a job no matter how poor I was as a contact tracer? No. No fucking way. It just goes against my internal moral compass so strongly. I couldn't do it, no matter how desperate I was. But everyone's different, right? Everyone is fucking different. They're all going to have their own compass that they have to go by. What do you want to say, Earl?
They attacked one of the actresses that did the mocap and the acting in the movie, and they attacked her young child as well online.
Who? I don't know who you're talking about.
For the Last of Us game, they attacked one of the actresses online because of what happened in the game with the character in the game. So that's happened, and also like for us handicapped people in Canada, like we're getting screwed. We only get like $600 one time.
Oh,
one time. That doesn't help us. That
No, it
does
doesn't.
not fucking
Awful.
help us whatsoever. That doesn't give us an increase that we sorely need. Like,
Yep.
I can't save. I can't, like, do some of the things I wish I could do. Like, I would love to pay for Spotify. Really, I would. Because I love it so much. But I can't because I don't have the money for it.
Yeah. Listen, my cousin is on disability and has been on disability for 30 years, because she has multiple sclerosis. And I've watched the the cuts that keep getting made to what she can claim, etc. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. But it's across the board, right? Like, so it's like cuts to everything, cuts to health, cuts to. I mean, this is the whole thing. Americans think Canada has got this great health system. And Canada doesn't. Canada doesn't. Why? Because it's become American. They've cut everything out of the Canadian healthcare system, to the point of eye doctors are no longer covered. Well, I'm sorry. Is that not general healthcare to be able to fucking see? No. Casts are no longer covered. X-rays are no. Wait. X-rays are no longer covered under the insurance. What? Like, insane. This is what I say to all the Brits out there who complain about the British healthcare system. I get it. I totally get it. It's gotten worse. Just like across the board, it has everywhere in the world. But
I mean,
compared to everywhere else, holy shit, you've got it good here.
One point, Windsor had 4 freaking hospitals. Now we're down to like 2, but now they want to build one big mega hospital. But it's going to be not in the city, it's going to be somewhere on the outskirts. So, yeah.
That's going to be helpful, yeah.
Can I tell you what happened to my husband's ear?
Oh, you told me, Nancy. I am just... Go ahead, tell everyone, because that's the epitome of the asinine stupidity that is coming out of this lockdown situation.
Okay, so my husband had a wax build up in his ear, so it plugged, and he couldn't hear, and it started to get painful. So he went to the doctor. Doctor gave him antibiotic ear drops. This was before the doctors decided that they were going to do phone consultations. So it kept building up and building up and building up. And he kept phoning the doctor, and he said, well, I'll get you into a specialist. So this is March, okay? So he says, I'll get you into a specialist. So we don't hear from the doctor. We don't get the specialist thing. Darwin decides to go, Darwin's my husband's name. Darwin decides to go to the hospital. So he goes to the hospital. There's no one there because everybody's afraid to go because of COVID, right? So he goes to a hospital. He goes in, and he's in severe pain. He can't hear, and they say, well, we don't treat that here. Here's some antibiotic drops. Again, go home. So Danny and I talked about it, and he was trying, C60 in his ear. We were doing all kinds of things that Danny does, but his ear started to feel better, so he didn't do it with any consistency. So he gets in pain again. He phones the doctor's office, and he says, okay, I'll get you a referral. So we're waiting. He's calling the office to get the appointment because he can't hear. He's in pain. And finally, he just goes to the specialist office and says, do you have my referral? I need to get in and see you as soon as possible. So this started in March, and this is like July now, okay? So they said, well, you're not supposed to be here. He says, well, answer your fucking phone, and then I wouldn't be here. So the lady comes out, and she's got like a 3-inch stack of referrals. She says, this is how many referrals we have. So she goes through the referrals, and she says, oh, we don't have one. And my husband's like, for fuck's sakes, like, did the doctor drop the ball? So he phones the doctor again, and he sends out another referral to another doctor. So then we get the call during the week, and now he's got 2 specialist appointments. But in the meantime, my son has a specialist appointment with one of the specialists for something that's wrong with his throat, but it can wait because I think it's just his like Adam's apple growing. So we phoned the office, and I said, can my husband please take my son's appointment? It's an emergency. He can't hear out of his right ear. He's in severe pain. And she says, I'm sorry, we don't book that way. And I'm like, oh, for Christ's sakes, you know, like, why can't you just let my husband take his appointment and just give my husband's appointment that you've got for July 27th? No, we don't book that way. And so I canceled my son's appointment. I was so mad. I don't want to deal with stupid people, but my husband's so desperate. So anyways, he marches over there. He finally gets the appointment, okay? Through begging and pleading, and he's been to the hospital, and he's calling his doctor constantly since March. Okay, this is our Canadian system, but COVID too, right? So he gets there, and the doctor's, oh my, oh no, oh my, oh geez. And my husband's like, what? He says, well, not only do you have a wax buildup now, it's completely plugged. You've got dead skin cells in there, so it's building up debris. Your skin is growing over the earwax plug, and in other places where the infection is, because you still got the infection, it's actually eroded the skin down to the bone. So my husband was holding onto the chair, gritting his teeth, because the guy was picking away at the wax, you know, and the debris in his ear, and he was in severe pain. And so when he was done, he says, can you hear me? And he said, no. And my husband said, have I lost permanent hearing in my ear? And he says, I don't know yet. You're going to have to come back in 3 weeks and we'll try again. So all this didn't need to happen. It was an earwax plug that you could usually go to the doctor for and get a water syringed out. And now my husband has lost his hearing.
Yep.
Isn't that disgusting?
And that's the whole thing. As I said to you when we were talking about it, I have heard these stories, so many of these stories now, in the last 6 months. It's insane. Insane the amount of these stories I've heard. People same thing, well, like you know, little tiny infection, and they can't get anyone to treat it. And guess what? It gets to a point now where it's like staph, and it's like to the point, this one person I know, they're talking about having to amputate his toe. But the doctors wouldn't see him. The hospital wouldn't see him. They were all like, it's an ingrown, here, take these antibiotics, go away. Take these antibiotics, go away. Oh, guess what? Now they may have to amputate his toe because the infection is so bad, they're afraid it's going to turn into blood poisoning. Is there going to be a glut of lawsuits? I think so.
Well, think of all the people that are missing their cancer treatments, the ones that decide to take their cancer treatments, all the elective surgeries that are necessary. People still need this stuff. Just because it's called an elective surgery doesn't mean it's not necessary.
Well, no, it's how what they're qualifying as elective surgeries. We have, I won't give names, one of the unfuckers who's been waiting for heart surgery for months, and they have canceled it multiple times on her. And she's to the point where she can barely even walk across the room without chest pain. And they keep canceling her heart surgery. This is major, major heart surgery she needs to have. Like what? Like, seriously, what the fuck?
Who do you sue? Where's the lawsuit, you know? Like, if you think about it, you were saying lawsuits. And it's like, I'm so angry because he's lost his hearing in his ear. And I hope. He hasn't even checked his other ear yet. So this is just the one ear. So can anybody tell me how this happens? He didn't ask the specialist. How is it that we get a wax? Is it when we use Q-tips?
Okay, no. Okay, I want to bring this up. I want to bring this one specific thing. If we haven't really gotten into health things that have been going on this weekend, the physical shit that's been going on this the fucking insanity physically that's been going on this week, which has been off the fucking charts again. I don't get earwax. I very, very rarely do I get earwax buildup. I have been literally, my ears so full of goo, earwax, that I've been like, what the fuck? My youngest son was hugging me. He was on the top of his bunk bed. He was leaning down. The light just shone in his ear in such a way. And I was like, what is in your... I was like, Nick, get me the Q-tips and get me a bobby pin. Bobby pin. It's, you know, the little rounded part at the end of the bobby pin makes a really good scoop for pulling fucking earwax out. You really shouldn't do that. Okay, you really shouldn't do that. But sometimes when you're dealing with earwax buildup, you have to do something. I got him to lay down on the pillow. The shit I pulled out of that child's ear was unbefucking believable. And I said to Nick, we joke about the fact that Kale never hears us. Is that why? Like, his ears are that. So there's something going on. There's something going on, whether it's atmospherically, whether it's, God, I don't know, pollution. I don't know. But I have now spoken to a pile of people who are talking about wax buildup in their ears is unlike anything they've ever seen before. That they've never experienced it, and now all of a sudden they've got like just ridiculous amounts. What's going on? I don't know. I honestly have no clue what it is causing it. Go ahead, Monty.
I had a couple.
Oh, very quick, Earl. It sounds like a purging. Like if you go into the woo-woo of we're raising a frequency, like the body's gone, we don't need this shit. Look, because I do get earwax occasionally, but it's changed now. If I can get a little bit graphic, it's at the top of the entrance.
Yes.
Right in the top, and it's like it's annoying. It's really annoying as well.
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
actually have to get the right way to get it out, and it's like a third of a tic tac in shape, if that makes sense. Not that big.
No. I get what you're saying. No,
Yeah.
Monty, I know exactly what you're saying. It's not normal type. It's not
it's
the
different.
way it usually is. And Bossy, I know, yes, wearing headphones can cause some of it. Yes, it can. I don't wear headphones. Very, very rarely. Because I can't stand putting things. I literally can't stand putting shit in my ear. So very rare do I put in headphones. There's something to this. Now, again, we talk about mucus. We talk about expulsion, right? Skin breakouts. People are having skin breakouts and are getting just bizarre shit coming out of their skin. Now, whether we want to call it Morgellons, what, who knows? Is that it? Is our bodies literally just ejecting all this shit, toxins, crap out of our bodies? I don't know. Maybe.
Is anyone getting itching? Itching as well?
Itching
I think I've
so
got
bad.
Foot fungus somehow. Yeah, I'm part of a human resonance group, and they're saying they're getting itching as well. And I spoke to a friend of mine. The energy's amping up our central nervous system, which kind of makes sense because it's like if the energy's going through, you're putting too much current through the system type thing. But it's weird. Like, I mean, well, I know that's an understatement for 2020, but it's just another thing.
No, it is. See, itching I never think of because if you notice, if you watch me during this, I scratch continuously. I do have allergies, and my allergies very rarely are like the sneezy, runny nose type. I itch, and I've literally put my eyes itch so bad that I've actually put blisters on my corneas because when I'm asleep, I will literally rub my eyes so hard from the itch. Yeah, that comes into those physical symptoms. The buzzing. There's buzzing. I've talked about this. Someone else and I were talking about it last week. How do you describe it? Like your skin is buzzing. It's not really an itch. It's like almost like electrical field going through. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's you scratch the outside of the skin, but it seems to be the skin itself.
Yes,
and
inside.
It's like, quick coconut oil. Also for me, because been DJing in nightclubs for a long time, I've got tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to say it. A version of ringing in the ears. Now, I know when I'm getting some downloads or whatever where it's a high-pitched whine and blah, blah, blah. But for a while there, like last year, it's sort of either I ignored it or wasn't there. But now it's come back, and that sounds different as well, where it's prominent background noise, if that makes sense.
I went upstairs. I had to put myself in timeout several times yesterday. It was a bad fucking day. And at one point, I went upstairs and was just like, I just need to sit quietly. I just need to sit quietly. And when you extract yourself from the household noise, go into your bedroom, shut the door, which never really blocks out all the noise, but it gives you a bit of a buffer. The tones were deafening, shocking to the point of like, I remember sitting there going through your breathing exercises, and then literally being like, what the fuck is that noise? Unbelievably loud. Unbelievably loud.
The other day, I'm in the washroom doing my goddamn. I'm sitting there and I'm hearing bells.
Bells.
No, I'm thinking maybe it's the television, but I'm like, no, it doesn't feel like it's coming from the television.
Yeah.
Also, we're going back to the year several weeks back. I'm here and I take my headphones off. I feel this sharp point in my ear. It's like a spire thing coming out my ear. It's like that's what it felt like. I'm like, okay, that's not right.
This
That's
is not
weird.
normal.
So I had to, go and get Q-tips, try and knock the dang thing down, and yeah, I was able to get some of it removed and all that, Yeah, something like
Surgical
that.
extractors, I have multiple pairs, and they sit around my all over my house. There's one in just about every room in the house because I'm always having to pull shit from somewhere.
But
and let's not even talk about the bizarre hairs that are growing, okay?
Regarding the buzzing feeling, I usually get that in my journey where I would meditate. It was one part of my journey where I would meditate, and I could get my whole body buzzing, where everything in my body was just buzzing at a level where it was like, holy crap, I feel like someone just stuck some kind of vibration technology into my body and just like.
Yep. Okay, Lori, yes. Okay, it is a 40+ thing. Weird hair growing in weird places. We know this. I get weird clear hairs. They're clear. Like they're not white. They're not gray. They're literally clear. And they're bones like really, really straight. And I find those occasionally and I'm like, the fuck is that? 'Cause they look like fibers. They look like some kind of a fiber optic, like literally, because they're clear and they're thick, really thick. Or the flip side of that is that they're micro fine, thin, but they're clear. It's very, very strange. That's too much information from me. I'm sorry.
I had an undercut because being a metalhead, you have long hair, and it's like I can't be asked. But then I realized I can't be asked getting it undercut all the time, and because the hair's sort of they lose the color if they keep getting cut all the time. So in the last 12 months, my hair, I was going white. I don't go grey; it's just white, and now I'm not. Like the hair color seems to be changing, and I haven't had it cut for months. I don't think I've got it cut this year, and that's I finding weird. But then all of a sudden, my beard, that's just gone pure white. Like what? Okay.
And I was like, I don't know how old I was because I lived at this house for most of my childhood, but I think I was like probably 10 or 11. I was like walking through the yard and there was like something itching on my arm all day, and I could feel a little like poke, and I was like picking at it, and then I looked and I pinched it and I pulled out a blue, it was like a thin rod, and I was just like, ew, and like threw it on the ground. And then like years later I brought it up to my dad and his friend, and they were like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, I guess I never thought of it.
I guess I should have said something, Dad. Oops.
His friend was like already like they were like weird or whatever. I don't know. They weren't like, his friend was like a conspiracy theorist or whatever from like back in the day, and they were like, it's the government. I was like, I never thought of anything, but I've heard of like if people find implants, they're like programmed to like throw it away immediately. They'll like flush it down the drain like without thinking.
Hey,
Yeah.
Katie, I got a quick question. It's off the
Oh,
topic.
okay, Maury, and then Christy after you.
Okay, Katie, what the hell are you making?
Yeah, okay, yes, Katie, I want to know what you're making too.
I'm making newspaper pots, so I'm gonna pull out my sweet peas because they're pretty much done, and plant more sweet peas and more lettuce and stuff in the fall.
Nice.
Okay, thanks.
No,
Yeah, they
I
work
kind
really
of
good
thought
because you
that
can
might
just
be
plant
what
it
you
right
were
in the
doing.
ground. Yeah.
By the way, I sent you a PM asking that, and then you thought you posted a message to everybody, but it went to my PM, so you might want to change that to everyone and your chat. Okay. All right, that's it. It's off in left field. Okay, thanks.
What do you want to
How's
add,
everyone's
Christy?
dreams been the last week? Oh, sorry.
Hold on, Monty. Just let Christy first.
Monty, 4 years ago, I was 100% silver gray. I'm going brown.
That's awesome. I love
That's
that.
awesome. Now, if you could just like market that secret, you'd be a millionaire.
I have no idea what's causing it, but I'm going brown and have noticed red highlights. It's weird.
Same thing's happening to my mom. My mom's 77. She's got dark hair like me. And her hair was like really salt and pepper.
And now it's darker.
She's getting the pigment back in her hair. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Interesting.
It's cool, actually.
Yes, yes. We just need to figure out what's causing that. That would be cool. Oh, Monty, what did you say about dreams?
Just what dreams have everyone's been having? Because like the one I can kind of remember was somehow the Prime Minister of Australia was at this club that I used to work at, and he was the manager. There was 2 cricket teams on different levels, sort of hanging out, and it just got weirder and weirder. But from my perspective, it was like I'm just here to watch this. Like, you know, it wasn't lucid where I like, oh, look, I'm going to create a unicorn and call it Brownhorn and all that type of shit. It was like, okay, cool. I seem to be in a different timeline. Or that's the other funny part about dreams is that you've got 6 or 7 different scenarios. Is it the subconscious? Is it the brain working through shit? Are you on a different timeline? Are you in a different past life? Are you in a different universe? And, you know, is it a soul shard, blah, blah, blah. And then you wake up and forget the fucking thing.
Yeah, don't even.
And I call BS. Have you heard the people who are like, the scientists are like, dreams actually only last 3 seconds.
Bullshit.
And you think that it lasts longer. Mine lasts for like hours sometimes. I'm like, can we wrap this up?
Well, if you're outside of time, they probably are right. It is 3 seconds in your body, but you're not in your body. You're tethered to it, and you're having an 8-hour experience in 3 seconds. But you can't tell the people in the white coats that because they freak out.
Listen, here's the thing, though, and this gets me, because they give us the whole thing of what dreams happen. Dreams happen when you have REM sleep, et cetera, and you go through a whole sleep process, and they will explain it takes you this many hours, and you go do this, and then you go like there, and then you get into REM sleep, and that's where you dream, blah, blah. I have laid my head down in the middle of an afternoon on my pillow, and within 5 seconds, I am fucking out, off, dreaming, whatever you want to call it, dreaming. You can't tell me that I've gone through 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 2 hours of this and no. I know I've looked at the clock. I've been laying down for a grand total of 15 minutes, and I'm already dreaming.
I was going to say, this week as well, the snap naps have been hitting where like I'm trying to watch a Doctor Who episode and the eyelids going, we're closing for business now. And it's like I'm trying to
me, it's like I'll be sitting watching video and I'll go out. But for me, it seems all my visions, I call them, because they feel like visions to me, are with women. Where I'm meeting up with women, or they're asking me, hey, do you want to go have coffee or something? Like, it all has to, I I've never seen a guy in them. It's always with women. I don't know why.
You're working the astral field, so well done, sir.
Maybe. Britt, don't laugh. I had a fucking baby. I had last week several baby dreams. And I was just like, no. No. So, yeah. No, I've had a lot of strange, like really bizarre shit. On most of it, I don't remember. I did have a really, really funny dream. It's like you say, like the just the ha-ha dreams, kind of like what you were talking about with the cricket club and the prime minister and all the rest of it. I had one of those type of ones this week, and you just sit back and laugh and go, okay, that was just, I don't know, my brain having fun going, here, you wanted to watch a comedy, but you fell asleep. So here, I'll just give you one. Here you go. Here's a comedy for you.
I have recurring characters. Like, why am I hanging out with Metallica again? What is my higher self trying to tell me? What the fuck?
Danny?
Yeah, darling.
Babies are new projects.
Oh, I have lots of new projects that I'm
You
working on.
see?
I actually do have lots of new projects that I'm working on. Yes, I do.
There you see. There you go.
Good. Thank you, Mercedes, for sharing that, because I was really worried until I got my period last week, let me tell you.
The craziest dream. It was like 3 weeks ago, but it was one of those that like stuck with you all day and made you feel really weird. And it stuck with me, I mean, heavily that day, but all week. But I was supposed to meet a friend, and she was supposed to call me in real life at like 10 in the morning. And in my dream, I was asleep on the couch. And in my dream, she called me, and I was taking a nap on the couch, and it woke me up in my dream. And I said, this is going to sound really weird, but is it 10 a.m. or 10 p.m.? She was like, 10 a.m. Why? And I was like, I got to go, because the window behind all the windows, it was completely pitch black outside. So I was like, okay. First thing I thought was, I'm going to look at the sky. You know, maybe there's a huge storm. And I saw stars. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I like opened the window to start filming. And I live downtown, so there was like some people on the sidewalk, one person in the middle of the road, and then they started filming. And there was a guy standing kind of next to my window, and everything went like really still and silent, like almost like when a tornado hits. And I was like, get the fuck inside. And I like made him crawl through the window. And I like run into the kitchen where my kids are playing. And I grab my two little boys, and I'm like trying to figure out split second, like, do I throw them in the cupboard or do we run down to the basement? And I like throw them in the cupboard, and all of a sudden it's like whoosh, and like pots and pans are hitting us, and it stops, and I'm like screaming for their dad, and I'm like, all right, do I run down to the basement with the kids? And then I'm like, and this guy's got to get the fuck out of my house. And I was like, and then I just woke up, and I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck was that?
It was so real. Yeah, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. Strange fucking dreams. It's been really, really crazy this week, because there's one thing when you yourself go through something. God knows, half the time we have these moments you're just like, I have no idea what the fuck is my problem. We've had multiple, my whole family has just been hit, where Nick and I have been serious klutzes for 2 days. Everything we pick up, we drop, to the point it's now become like a joke of like, here, can you hand me that knife? And it's like, here. Extreme exaggerated safety, because I've already dropped a knife onto my foot. Like headaches, the feeling, the woozies, like we're just sort of weird on the, was it Saturday or Sunday? It was Sunday. Everyone in the house was just so quiet. Like no one wanted to talk. No one wanted to do anything. Everyone napped. My youngest daughter ended up falling asleep on the couch. She thought she'd been asleep for about 5 minutes. She was asleep for 2 hours. My eldest daughter went upstairs and she took a nap for 2.5 hours. I went and laid down. Nick fell asleep on a chair. Like, it was like everyone, and we don't nap. Like, no, but everyone in the house was literally wiped out. And there's been so much of that now that it's not even like, once a week, twice a week. I was saying to Anne and Gail, the worst of what, for me, of what we're going through at the moment on that level of how we're experiencing some of this shit is that you can wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, I feel good. Right. We're going to get this done today. I'm going to get that done today. Yeah. And then, I don't know, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon hits and you're just like, and you, poof, and that's it. You're done. You're done. And you can't even plan out your days. Like, literally, last week, I had orders for Gaia's Garden that had to go out. And I'm literally sitting there exaggeratedly wrapping each bottle in bubble wrap and taping it, but like moving so slowly and so carefully because I knew I was so exhausted and tired and brain dead that I was afraid that if I even let my attention wander for a second, I'd either mix up the orders or I'd end up breaking something. It was that bad. And that's the worst of it, because you try to make plans for things to do and you don't know. It's not like you get up in the morning and this is how you feel and you know that's going to be your day. No. Because at any point in time during the day, it's like all of a sudden it can just smack you upside of the head and that's it. You're done. You might as well just forget about getting anything done. And there are days where I'm lucky if I get through my day doing just the household family stuff, like feed kids,
Oh my God.
tidy up, do a bit of laundry, make dinner, and get them into bed. And I'm like, that's all I accomplished today. And that's literally all I was capable of accomplishing today.
Don't even get me started about all that kind of stuff. It's like, how was it? Sometimes I have to just day review and I'm like, how was it that just changing my phone number took all fucking day?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And now I don't commit to stuff because I'm like I don't know if I'll have time to do that. I don't know how I'll feel. Like I'm taking things day at a time. Like and I'll plan all this stuff on my list and I still have stuff on my list from like 3 days ago. And I'm like,
yeah, well, it'll take me all day to just wash the sink of dishes. I'm just like,
don't you all feel like this energy drain on this? Like those simple things like washing the dishes. I mean, yeah, you're done within 10 minutes if you get cracking, right? But to get there, to actually do it, even if it's just 10 minutes, the sheer, I don't know, energy costs of getting your ass up and doing it right on time.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're. No, dude, listen, you know what I've had to do? I had a conversation with Ben months ago. And we talk about habits. Like, we all get into bad habits, right? Like, one of my worst habits is I would get up in the morning. Stop kissing me. I love you. But enough. And you get up, you get a coffee, you have a smoke, and then you get on Facebook and you start, and you can get sucked in. The next thing you know, 3 hours has gone by. And I've learned that pretty much my only proactive time I have that I can almost guarantee I will have is that first 2 hours of the day. Yeah. And so I literally have got kind of training myself that I get up and it's like, if the kitchen floor has to be washed, it's like coffee, smoke, wash the kitchen floor and do it right now. Because if I do it now, I will get it done. If I need to put on a load of laundry or wash towels, or I need to clean the stove or whatever, that kind of menial, everyday kind of crap, I have to do it the moment I wake up in the morning, because it is the only time where I can pretty much say, okay, I've got at least 2 hours before I know shit's gonna go sideways. And that's what I've just literally had to completely retrain my schedule now. Like, if I have to get it done, it has to be first thing in the morning. It must be. Otherwise, there's a chance I ain't gonna get to it. And time is going missing. Nick and I, several times this week, literally turned around and gone, oh, and, the dogs are dancing at your feet. And you're just like, what? It's not your time yet. And I'll have Quinlan pipe up and go, actually, it is. It's their dinner time. And you're like, it can't be 5 o'clock. There's no possible way it's 5 o'clock. And the two of us look at each other and be like, no, 2:30, 3 o'clock, maybe. And you go to, and you look and you go, oh my God, it's fucking 5 o'clock. How? And you can account time up to a certain point. Like you can account for every thing you've done up until say 1 o'clock. And then 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock just disappears. It's just fucking gone.
Or you're watching an hour-long video and it's like feels like 30 minutes went by. There's times that I go on a website and I'm just looking for a few minutes on the dang website and it's like half hour. I'm like, wait, what? I'm just looking on this website. I haven't done anything yet.
Yep. I've been working on the Unfuckers library. I've been working heavily on the Unfuckers library. And I found a cache of books. And I've probably added 400 books to the Unfuckers library, mostly on history, science, the classical historians too, like so things like real ancient Rome writings, Greek, things like that. And it was the same thing. The one day, there was 2 days I went solidly all day, from the moment I got up in the morning to the moment I went to bed. And the one day at the end of the day, so I'm downloading, and then that way I can do a mass upload in one large packet all at once, so I can keep track of which ones have been added and which ones haven't. And when I got to the end, by the end of the day, and I'm talking it was midnight, I got to the end of the day, and I uploaded this packet of books. I was like, oh my God, there must be a couple of thousand books in there. And I went and looked, and it was like, I just uploaded like 280. I was like, okay, I've been at this since 8 o'clock this morning. It's midnight. I have been at this nonstop, and you're telling me I've only managed to download and upload 200. Like it's not possible. Like I should have been able to have done thousands of books in this time. And yeah, and like you said about losing time, where you just I'll start looking, analyzing, and the next 3 hours has gone by, and it's like, okay, wow.
Hey, Danny, didn't you say the other time when we were on this discussion that we have actually, or science says we actually have a black hole in our solar system?
Yeah.
About these things, they're messing with time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's in our solar system some weird time fuckery going on that's not happening outside.
Do you know how? Yeah, that kind of reminds me of like quantum physics. Do you know how like until the particle observed it is just as a wave of possibility, kind of?
Exactly.
It kind of reminds me, like, with all this stuff we need to do on our list, like, I've noticed that if it is not actively in my consciousness that I need to get this done today, and I've, like, thought about it the day before, like, it'll just slip away like a wave. It'll just slip away.
Oh, by the way, Zero,
gone.
they made a new experiment that was a little bit pointed into the direction of the two-slit experiment with the intention, right, with the observing. So they took an empty room. There's no light going in or out. They took a random generator in the middle and put a light on there. Then they put a plant in this room, and the idea was the light would be equally everywhere randomly, right? But the moment they introduced the plant into that room, the light shined more often into the direction of the plant than it would be random. That was pretty fucking nifty.
Wow, that's interesting.
And cool.
Dude, that's awesome.
Very interesting. Well,
indeed, plants
communicate. There is a consciousness in plants. We know this. And there's been enough, and strangely enough, the new group that I've made on Facebook, which is the gardening agricultural group, to discussing basically what's going on with atmospherically, geomagnetics, et cetera, and trying to come up with some kind of solutions. Someone posted a really good article talking about they did a study, the photonic communication electrical signals between tomato plants, using the mycelium as the communication lines, so to speak. And the fact that they're saying that this is just the one that they've studied, was these tomato plants, but that there was so many implications to this that it's crazy. Yeah, and exactly. And just said, plants can tell each other what's happening to each other, and they react to human intentions. And my kids think I'm all fucking crazy. I talk to my plants all the time, because I know that intention, that energy, that they pick up on it. This isn't woo-woo crap. This has been well documented and studied, that your intentions towards it. Absolutely.
Maybe that's where prayer comes from too, like before you eat the blessing.
Yep.
I can't remember if it was the Tao of Physics or the Secret Life of Plants, because I read them both like back to back when I was younger. But they hooked up these plants to it was like almost like a lie detector test sort of thing.
Yep.
And the scientists that clipped the plants, as soon as he started walking towards the plant with the scissors, they spiked and then they just passed out. They were like, oh God. And then he clipped them. And then the next day, when he even came into the room, all the plants were like, oh my God, he's back. And in another room, if one of the scientists heated up a hot dog in the microwave, and they all freaked out again. They're like, oh my God. So it's like, if you're going to clip them, they know. They're like, oh, hurry, pass out.
Yeah.
Different story where it was a match. They lit the match and the plant reacted, and then they imitated to light the match, and the plant still reacted to it. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
It screws up all the vegetarians and vegans because, you can't eat meat. They're conscious. Well, guess what?
Yeah, I like to torture my vegan friends with those studies, but I'm evil, and we all know that. So listen, I'm gonna round it all up here. Nick, just 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Dogs, you gotta wait. Shut up. There you go. Because I gotta go. Thank God, I can't believe the internet actually held relatively well. All this, I'm really hey. So, what did I want to say? Right, Unfuckers Meetup here in the UK, in the West Midlands. If anyone wants to talk to me about it, you can email me at Dani, DANI, @rts.earth, and I'll type it into the info down below with the article link. We're going to meet up here at the pub next door from 12 till 5. They don't do food, but I'm going to make up some food, some stuff, and we're going to figure shit out. And yeah, be prepared, guys. Facebook is a disaster, and God knows we say this. It's like a broken record talking about how Facebook is so broken, but it's really bad. I haven't been able to get into the Unfuckers Unite group. My group. I can't get into the group. I get in, I can see 3 posts, and it's been like that now for, I don't know, 2 weeks now. So I am working on getting Unfuckers Unite, the website, up and running again and all of that shit organized. I'm just giving everyone a heads up, because as soon as we have that well out tested and everything running smoothly, I'm going to fucking close the Facebook groups down, because I'm done. I'm done with not being able to even communicate with people anymore. Yeah, Mercedes.
I'm done with Facebook, man. I can't wait to jump ship.
Hold on, Zero. Go ahead, Mercedes.
Just last quick question before you close.
Yeah.
When the web page is ready, do we have to register completely new?
You may have to. I have to see. We've just put a new plugin in. I've put a new plugin in to run the membership. I should be able to transfer the old into the new. But unfortunately, the last time I did that is when we got all kinds of fucking disasters happen. So I may have to wipe out the entire membership, and start completely fresh again. I'm going to try and do some tests. And I will let everyone know when it's going to happen, though. But that is the plan. Get the fuck off of Facebook. Yeah.
Hey, Danny, just really quick. Jaylene, I don't know if you noticed this, but last week you talked about this in the group, and Jaylene, I think is her name, she put a link that if you follow that link, it takes you right to our UU Facebook group. It shows all the newest posts first.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
And it
work
works
for me,
every
darling.
time for me.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
All right.
No, I've tried all the tricks.
Okay.
Like, this has been an ongoing thing that happens, and then it goes away, and then it gets bad, and you have bad days. I have tried all my tricks, and none of them are working.
Anyway, yeah, I'm just excited to completely jump ship off of Facebook, and also I don't think I have any login or member details on the Unfucker site. So after the call, I'll want to make sure I register somehow.
Yeah, like it's not ready to
Or
go.
whenever
So
you're ready.
Zero, don't worry, it's not ready
Okay.
to go yet. It still needs a lot of rebuild work. When it's ready to go, I will make a big announcement and let everyone know. I will, but it's not ready to go because, like everyone, I'm kind of having a hard time concentrating on jack shit these days. And I make plans. Today's going to be on Fuckers Day. I'm going to work on the website. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Okay. I love you guys. I will talk to you all next Wednesday. Some of you, I will see you on Sunday. Have a good week, guys, and take it easy. Be kind to yourselves. Be easy with yourselves. Bye.
Bye, and have a nice meetup.
We will.
One small step for man.